Day 15 picks edition of the Premier League Gambling Podcast on the Sports Gambling Podcast Network is brought to you by Underdog Fantasy. Sign up with the promo code PLGP to get a 50% deposit bonus up to $1,000. We're also brought to you by Rebet, a new sportsbook available in 45 states. Download Rebet in your app store and use promo code SGPN for a 100% deposit match up to $100. We're brought to you by Rhythm. Start crushing college football and the NFL with Rhythm. Get your 7-day free trial today by going to sportsgamblingpodcast.com/RITHMM. Welcome, everybody, to the Premier League Gambling Podcast on the Sports Gambling Podcast Network. My name is Malcolm Bamford, coming to you from Newcastle upon Tyne in the northeast of England. Today is Friday, the 6th of December, and we are here to put a lid on the Matchday 14 games, which finished only a few hours ago, and straight into Matchday 15, which kicks off on Saturday lunchtime. Joining me is Mr. Barry Pernaluna. Historic day today, Barry, episode 232. It's the first ever double hangover special. How are we feeling?
I feel quite fresh, surprisingly. Bearing in mind, I had about 11 hours on the drink yesterday, I think.
Dear.
It was a long day. Someone decided it would be sensible to organise the works Christmas party on a Thursday, starting at 12 o'clock. 12 o'clock midday. So you might have seen I put a picture out just after midday yesterday. I had a pint and a glass of red wine in front of me at midday yesterday. And I got home about 11 o'clock last night. But surprisingly, feeling quite fresh, which is good because this is still a work day for me. So I've been grafting this morning, taking a lunch break now to fill this in because we've struggled to find anywhere to squeeze it in this week, haven't we? And then I'm heading over into the office for this afternoon because I've got a few things to do. So busy day. So I'm quite grateful that I've woke up feeling relatively fresh given the amount of alcohol I consumed yesterday. I think finishing at 11 o'clock or getting home at 11 is what helped me because I still got a good sleep in, so doing okay.
Yeah, that's the key, innit? A couple of glasses of water and a good kip and you're all right. I went out. I mean, you handle it better than me, Baz. You absorb the booze better than me.
Absolutely.
I tend to suffer a little bit, but I wasn't going to go out. Then I was. Then I wasn't. I wanted to go and see this band, and I was very conscious of the fact that starting today, I've got loads of work. I'm working pretty much from now all the way through to New Year. And I felt like it was my stag do. I felt like last night was my last night of freedom, so I did want to go out. And then a couple of spare tickets came up at about 5 o'clock to see the Chats, Australian punk band. I wanted to go and see. So I went, and I'm pleased I went. I had a good time. I did have beer, but I'm not too bad. I've got to set off to Penrith this afternoon about 3 o'clock. So this is a weird time. I understand it. I think we'll struggle. A lot of our community will wonder why we're doing this at 11 in the morning, but that's why we were both out. I'm off to Penrith. Barry's off to work. But the Chats were very good, Barry. Like I say, if you've not heard of them, go and have a look. They're just like 90-second punk songs. And they must have played about 35 songs in an hour. It was incredible. No talking, no pissing round. Stop one song abruptly and fire straight up into the next one. And the other thing I liked about it, Baz, there was all the young people. Like, I think social media's got you convinced that the young generation are all absolute knackers, just going around listening to drill music and stabbing each other, or just doing TikToks and that. Actually, all the young people were out last night, and there was about 2,000 of them watching this Australian punk band, getting full of beer, and everyone was having a lovely time. So it gave you a little bit of hope for the next generation. But I did the second 5 games on the card when I got in at 1 o'clock in the morning, full of beer and rum. So it's a bit of an adventure. I haven't rechecked my notes. So the first 5 games, I'm quite confident in my picks. The second 5, we'll have to see what happens when I turn the page over, Barry. See what the 1 a.m. picks were. Yeah. And then I think the other thing worth mentioning is the night before, Wednesday night, I went to watch Newcastle Liverpool, which was just brilliant. Again, Newcastle showed itself in a very good light. And regardless of what happened, all the peripherals, it was just a magnificent game of football. Really, really enjoyed it. Trying to explain to Betty on the way home, you might get 10 of them in your life. Like 3-3 draws against probably the best team in the world. You're probably watching the best player in the world there at the minute with Mo Salah. I said, just don't underestimate what we've just sat and watched, because a lot of people don't get the chance to do that. It was fucking brilliant. Great game of football. So that was that. We'll probably get to all of that in a little while. Let's say hello to who was in. Dan was first in. Morning, Dan. How we doing? GRS. Callum's here as well. Harry's piped up. Chelsea. And Cereal. Cereal might just be having his cereal. It's very early. Nice to have your cereal. Picks-wise, Baz, I done all right. 6 winners out of 10. I nearly claimed 7, but Bournemouth were my underdog. So I gave Bournemouth out as my dog, but my actual pick was Bournemouth team total. So that did. So it's 6 and 4, which is fine. But with Bournemouth as a dog, was quite nice. I reverse mushed my lock on Liverpool and Darwin Núñez. So thank you very much, all Newcastle fans. You can have that one on me. So that worked.
He's still shite, isn't he?
He was fucking terrible. Really, really bad. The only bad pick I had was Everton. I think I took Wolves team total, and no one thought Everton were going to win 4-0. We laughed at the 11-10. In fact, I think Andy Williams backed them. He sent me a screenshot. If he had Everton in his acca, which is just ridiculous. I think that was my only terrible pick. So yeah, I'm chugging along quite nicely, Baz. I think maybe that's 4 out of 5 winning PL weeks.
Well done. Well done. I'm really happy for you. I'm in a slump.
I'm just saying, I'm not having a go at you, Barry. My success isn't necessarily at the expense of yours. I'm guessing your picks weren't great. What?
I'm in a slump, so I'm glad you're pulling out some winners, and hopefully people are following you. You've got to ride the hot hand, so that is you at the moment. I think I was 3 out of 10. I mean, you mentioned, we both said Everton couldn't be backed at that price. We also said Villa couldn't be backed at that price.
Yeah,
they're a little bit different with Villa. I think we just said it was purely based on the form. They might go and win, but they didn't seem good value here. So the two teams I wanted to avoid at the prices obviously didn't do what I thought. Chelsea, I got right. Said Chelsea goals. I can't remember what else. Obviously took Liverpool. I mean, even the Arsenal game, I thought Man United might get a goal. A lot of teams let me down for goals. Stuff like the both teams to score is letting us down all the time. Ipswich failed to get a goal. Man United failed to get a goal. Stuff like that. But yeah, struggling. But chance to get straight back on it. This is the thing at the moment. Thick and fast. We'll go again.
Yeah, we do go again. We are roundabout as we sit here 24 hours and 47 minutes away from kickoff of match day 15. Yeah, so maybe the same as last week. As we get through each game, we can mention anything that caught our eye from the last round of games that did just finish. We'll get stuck in. I'm going to tell you first about the Underdog Fantasy Underdog Pick'em. It's got one of the biggest menus for all sports. You can win up to 1,000 times your stake with Underdog Streaks. Underdog is always making it easier to win with profit boosts and gimme pick'ems. NFL, college football, college basketball, MMA, NBA, NASCAR, loads of stuff. Our promo code, if you sign up, is PLGP. That'll get you a special pick and a first-time deposit offer up to $1,000. Underdogfantasy.com, promo code PLGP. And also, Rebet, a brand new social sports book available in 45 states. Plenty of betting opportunities available on Rebet. Easy to use, great for people in states where traditional bookies may be restricted. Download Rebet in the App Store. Use the promo code SGPN for a 100% deposit match up to $100. Rebet, promo code SGPN. Right. Okay. We kick off on Saturday lunchtime, 12:30, is it? Yeah, so 7:30 Eastern time between Everton and Liverpool. A Merseyside derby where Everton are 6-1 home underdogs. The draw is 15-4 plus 375. Liverpool are 8-19 minus 238. Yeah, Everton 4-0 win against Wolves was a really, really weird one. Two early set pieces. Every highlight I watched on Match of the Day was either Everton scoring or Everton having a goal disallowed. That's all that happened all game. Two set pieces and two own goals. And I don't know how much to factor in the Wolves down tools in that one as well. The XG on the game was nowhere near 4-0, like not even close. I think Everton just scraped over 1 or something. So I'm kind of happy to ignore it, really. I just don't trust that Everton. I'm not going to sit here and say that's Everton turned the corner, that's Everton out the woods. They're going to go on a run. I'm just not buying it. Like Liverpool, obviously, I saw them firsthand on Wednesday. They're excellent. They're an excellent football team. When I saw the team news come out at 6 o'clock or wherever, you just had a feeling that maybe they'd left a little chink that Newcastle could take advantage of. Szoboszlai, Trent, and Diaz were left out. And it was Núñez, it was Curtis Jones, who's been excellent, and Quansah. And you just thought that's enough. Like, and I think that'll change again. They were obviously left out to be brought back in at the weekend, because we did say it was a possible kind of sandwich spot. They couldn't keep going full tilt in these big emotional games. Real Madrid, Manchester City, Newcastle to Everton. It's a big 4 games, so something that could give. And I thought that Liverpool team selection just gave us enough daylight. But I'd expect those 3 to come back in. The basic bars, Everton is still rubbish and Liverpool are still excellent. That was as far as I needed to go. There's loads of bets I liked here. There's loads of ways to win. All the ways to win are Liverpool on the handicap, if you want, plus 110. Liverpool team total. Now, Everton can defend all right, we know this, but Liverpool scored 3 at Southampton. They scored 3 at Newcastle in the last 2 away games. So a Liverpool team total over 2.5. That's 6-4. It's a nice price. Or Liverpool to win with over 2 goals is even money. So we'd say this a lot. I'm happy with my handicap. It's picking the right bet. I think Liverpool are going to stuff them, Baz. They're considerably better than them. Liverpool on the handicap. So minus 1.5 goals, plus 110, 11-10, Baz.
Yeah, I mean, bit of a crazy week for Everton, wasn't it? 4-0 defeat followed by a 4-0 win. Everton scoring 4 definitely wasn't on my agenda this week. Standout in the form line for Everton is both teams to score no. There's been a clean sheet in 5 straight games, and 7 of their last 8 have seen a clean sheet at one end. So both teams to score out, not worth looking at. Other side of it looks good. Liverpool themselves have got 4 clean sheets in the last 6 games, though the last 2 away games have seen them concede 5 goals against Southampton and Newcastle. But the other thing that stood out for Everton is the fact that fixture schedule for Everton has undoubtedly been the easiest of anyone in the league, because they haven't played any of the top 4 teams yet. We're 14 games in now. We're almost at the halfway point.
I wrote them down, Baz. I don't know if I mentioned them on the last show, because actually I've got them down here. The next games were Liverpool, at Arsenal, against Chelsea, and at Manchester City. Yeah, so they're the next 4 games.
So yeah, the fact they haven't played any of those yet would be a concern with them still being in the relegation mix and having a really, really tough run coming up. They've done okay at Goodison Park recently in this fixture. They won 2-0 last season. Had a 0-0 draw, I think, the year before. But I can't have Everton here. Not in the form Liverpool are. I think you've got to stick with Liverpool. And like you, I was looking at all the same sort of markets, but landed somewhere slightly different. Everton are short of goals generally. They've failed to score 6 times already this season, Everton. Liverpool have got 7 clean sheets already this season. I'm going to take Liverpool to win to 0. Was my pick. That's 6-4. I also like the Liverpool to score both halves at 6-5 as well. So like you, a couple of picks there. But I'm going to stick myself on the Liverpool win to 0.
Yeah, I don't mind that. Like I say, it's one of various ways in, but you have to try and get the right bet. Harry likes Liverpool to win in under 3.5. So again, that brings in sort of the Liverpool 2-0, 2-1 sort of thing. Scott Reichel, I believe that's Scott hiding behind the SGPN tennis gambling podcast moniker. Yeah, Scott does think I should be the new Wolves goalkeeper, which is not a bad shout because I'm very athletic for a middle-aged man. And I think I could probably do a job. So welcome, Scott. Scott never goes to sleep. It stresses me out. You know, I'm always asleep, Baz. I'm like a human sloth. I can crank out 23 hours a day. I think Scott's sleep offsets mine. I have all of his. Like, he never, ever sleeps. He's just watching Ukrainian tennis, like, at 3 in the morning. He's an absolute madman. Second game on the card is 3 o'clock kickoffs. Here we go, Baz. There are 1, 2, there's only 3. 3 o'clock kickoffs on Saturday afternoon. The first one is Aston Villa taking on Southampton. Aston Villa are 8 to 21. It's all the stupid prices. 8 to 21, minus 263. The draw 21 to 5, plus 425. Southampton 11 to 2, plus 550, Baz.
Yeah, first win in 9 for Villa the other day. 3-1 win over Brentford. Brentford at home for anyone is currently probably the easiest fixture in the league, though, you could say, because Brentford can't do anything on the road, can they? But they have stopped the slide, Villa, and it's an obvious opportunity here to keep them on the winning trail. Southampton have only got 1 point away from home all season, 6 defeats in 7 games, and 4 of them have come by a 2-goal margin. So I kept this one really simple. I just think I'm still in full fade mode of Southampton. They've had a couple of little glimmers of games where they've been a bit more competitive, but away from home, they've done nothing this season. So I'm going to take Villa, and I'm going to take them on the handicap. Villa minus 1.5 for me at even money.
Southampton are just wasting everybody's time. Like, just go away. Get in the sea. They can all get in the sea. They were doing it again the other night. They got a new goalie that you've never heard of, and he just took up where the rest of them all had left off, just giving away goals. Like, I kept this really simple as well, Baz. Again, it's easy when you've just come off. But both teams, I had a winning pick on both teams in fairly similar circumstances. So I took both teams to score over 2.5 for Villa against Brentford for a reason, because it was the best bet. I took Southampton to lose and both teams to score against Chelsea for a reason, and they both hit absolutely effortlessly. Like, there's no reason to change any of that. Southampton have been good for a goal recently. Villa haven't kept a clean sheet since October the 6th. Both teams to score 7 to 10 is quite a nice acca piece, but it is short. But Southampton are rubbish. Villa to win and both teams to score is 8 to 5. It's plus 160. It's a great price, like Baz. I'm banging to that. So Villa to win and both teams to score 8 to 5, plus 160. Next up is Brentford taking on Newcastle United. Brentford are 9 to 5, plus 180. The draw 13 to 5, plus 260. Newcastle 13 to 10, plus 130. We had Road Brentford in the week, and they're duly obliged by losing at Villa. But this is home Brentford, different proposition in it. 1-6 and drawn 1 of their 7 home games. But here we go. The 5 wins, of 5 of those 6 wins, have actually come against the current bottom 5 teams. So you talk about Everton having a relatively easy schedule. Brentford have done. They've had all the shite at home and duly dispatched them. It's not their fault, but it concerns me. The other win was against Bournemouth. They were sitting there in 13th. Newcastle sucked me in again. Fucking hell, Newcastle make it so hard. We're on a cycle, because didn't we do this? Get the win at Forest, we beat Arsenal, whatever. And all of a sudden, you're bullish and you think, right, here we go, Newcastle are going to kick on. And then they were terrible against West Ham. They were worse against Palace. And then all of a sudden, the old Newcastle's back on Wednesday. They seem to be able to turn it on at home against the good teams, which is a great thing to do. But you can't... I couldn't equate that performance on Wednesday with what I watched on Saturday. It's impossible for the same 11 blokes to throw out 2 so starkly contrasting performances. Like, they have to be able to back it up. Newcastle have to be able to back that performance up at places like Brentford. the couple of cosmetic changes, Tonali sitting a little bit deeper, Bruno playing a little bit further forward. They're going to go with that again. They look like they've got a bit more of a settled system here. So even though Newcastle haven't been great away from home, they have only lost 2 of their 7 games. Brentford have to regress. They have to. I'm not buying it. Simply put, Barry, Newcastle are considerably better than Brentford. That's it. And you can get them in. What are you laughing at? Well, that's true, isn't it? No, I don't think anyone's disputing that. Stop laughing. Newcastle 13-10 plus 130.
Yeah, so Brentford top of the home form team, best home team in the league at present, 6 wins and a draw from the 7 home games. But I think I said a couple of weeks ago, you have to sort of temper that a bit by looking at who they've played, because they've played the bottom 5 teams in the league at home. So they've played 7 games. 5 of them have been the bottom 5 teams in the league. They haven't played anyone of note at home yet. So that home form won't continue. The concern is obviously Newcastle struggling in these sort of games. It's quite clear that they can play against Man City, Arsenal, Liverpool, Spurs, teams that are going to come out and be a bit more expansive. We can get at them. And it's teams that sit in and try and hold us back where we've struggled, like the West Ham and Palace, struggle to break them down and get the goals. Brentford don't play like that. I don't see Brentford sitting in trying to contain us. They'll play their game, which is, full of goals at the moment. And I think there's an opportunity for Newcastle here. The other thing that stands out with Brentford at home is the sheer number of goals. Both teams to score 7 out of 7. 6 of their 7 home games have gone over 2.5 goals, and 5 of the 7 home games have gone over 3.5 goals. So I think, as I say, Newcastle have struggled to break down sides like this, but I don't think Brentford are capable of keeping anyone out. They've just won their last 4 home games and conceded 9 goals in winning those 4 home games. That's astonishing. Wolves scored 3. Ipswich scored 3. I was tempted with the over 3.5 goals at 11-8, but I actually prefer Newcastle just to get there too. Tougher game for Brentford in terms of their home record so far. Newcastle team total over 1.5 at 5-6 will be my pick.
Just going back briefly to Newcastle, the Alexander Isak, I mean, what a goal that was. Absolutely thunder bastard that into the top corner. And it just made me more angry about why he come off with a boo-boo on Saturday. Like, it just wound me up. I didn't get it. Anyway, soft as shite. Next up is the third of the 3 o'clock kickoffs is Crystal Palace against Manchester City. Crystal Palace are 9-2 plus 450. The draw is at 3-1, and Manchester City are 4-7 minus 175. Baz.
Yeah, Palace going okay at the moment. Just lost 1 of their last 6 now. Having started off absolute shockers with no winning 8, and I think they lost 6 of their first 8 games. They are chipping away and getting a few points at the moment. At the same time, obviously, City back in the winners' enclosure with a 3-0 win over Forest. It's their most convincing league win in a long time. They won their first 3 games of the season by 2 goals or more, and then failed to do so in the next 10 games, which is a long stretch for Manchester City not to be covering a handicap. Key the other day, Kevin De Bruyne was back in the team and seemed to be influential in a lot of stuff they did. Had an immediate impact. So the question is whether they can continue it this weekend. Hard really to know what to make of the Palace form. It is unpredictable, particularly at home. They've only won once, drawn 3, lost 3. Unders hits regularly at home. 5 home games in a row for Palace have gone under 2.5, and 6 of their 7 home league games have gone under 2.5 goals. I don't think you can back an unders in a City game. It just doesn't feel right, and particularly because City games lately have seen 7 of the last 8 go over 2.5. We know City don't keep many clean sheets, so I didn't want anything to do with the unders. The starting point here was I thought the City price at 4-7 was okay. I think before the recent run of form, there'd have been 1-3, 2-7, something like that in a game like this. And I think it's skewed massively because of that recent run of form. 4-7 then brings in a lot of the sort of stuff we were looking at previously for Man City. So if you think Man City are going to continue to be crap, then Fair enough. If you think they might get something here, then there's options on the table because of that starting price of 4-7. It's a handicap for me. Asian handicap -1 for Man City. It might be a bit early to start trusting them again. It's just one game they've won. But at -1, it doesn't seem that much of a stretch. You're getting even money for City -1 on the Asian handicap. So it's a push if they win by 1 and you cash if they win by 2 or more. So that's a pick for me. Man City -1 on the Asian handicap.
Yeah, one of my first points was that I thought that 4-7 was a great price. Like, not as a single, not going to give it out as a single. If you want to put a little 3-teamer on, a little lacquer on Saturday, 4-7 with Man City in there, I think is an excellent price. I've watched Palace twice this week, and they've been absolutely shite both times. Like, they've won a game, they've won one and drawn one, so it is counterintuitive. But they're not a very good football team. They're desperate to watch. They were terrible against Newcastle. Who themselves, Newcastle were awful, and Palace matched them every step of the way, last-minute equaliser. And then they were rubbish at Ipswich, who were also as bad. And one little bit of quality from Mateta got them a 1-0 win. And that's what Palace are going to do. They're going to scrape together enough points in various situations. They can defend okay, you're right, lots of unders kicking around. City back on track v Forest. Still might not be out of the woods. Remains to be seen. Hang on a minute. We've got breaking news here, Baz. The IT department's come in with a box with my name on it. Well, what do you think's in the box, Baz? Ooh.
I don't know.
You're not guessing.
What's the size of the box? Oh, that's food.
The size of the box. It's this big.
That's food. That's going to be some
food,
sort of Asian cuisine. It's going to be a noodles or rice kind of thing.
Barry, you couldn't be more wrong. It is I believe, it's a peach melba. Come on. Have a bit of that. That'll sort me out. Oh, shit all over my fingers now. Yeah, take that away. Right, what are we talking about? Football,
yeah,
Man City. Yeah, they might not be out the woods. Remains to be seen. But they have handled the bottom half teams, Baz. They've won 5 out of 6 games against bottom half teams, scoring 14 goals doing so. And I couldn't believe this price, Baz. Because City to win and the City team total was about 7-10. But City to win in over 1.5 match goals is 4-5, -125. The prices were all a bit skew with on that, but I think that's a lovely price. Manchester City to win in over 1.5 match goals is 4-5, -125. Harry guessed salad. I can only assume he's taking the piss. No salad going on there, Baz. Right up. Adverts. Adverts, reads, what do you call them? MyBookie.ag has been running on SGPN for years. They've got a new and improved website, great on mobile. Props for every game. You've got a live dealer casino. Early cash out options. Head to MyBookie.ag with the promo code SGPN for a 100% deposit match up to $1,000 plus a $10 casino chip. That's MyBookie.ag. Promo code SGPN. And Rhythm, the #1 AI-powered sports betting platform that helps provide bettors of all levels the ability to build custom predictive models in seconds, get predictions for betting on money lines, spreads, totals, and props. All the sports are on there. Build your own model or copy one of the top performing models. Claim your 7-day free trial by going to sportsgamblingpodcast.com/rhythm. That's sportsgamblingpodcast.com/RITHMM. What's going on here? Callum is mentioning Jack Clark from Ipswich. Oh my God, he was terrible the other night. I watched that Ipswich Palace game, and he just hemorrhaged possession. Like, he looked like a Sunday morning footballer. Bear in mind, Sunderland fans had him up as the best thing since sliced bread. Absolutely cacky was Callum. Really, really bad. Where are we going? Tea time Saturday, 5:30 kickoff, 12:30 Eastern time. Manchester United taking on Nottingham Forest. Man United are 11-18, which is -163. 3-1 the draw. Nottingham Forest 15-4, plus 375. Is this me or you, Baz? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Me. Man United were rubbish against Arsenal. Absolutely rubbish. Someone probably should have told the new manager that Arsenal were quite good at corners. He appeared not to know that. And then before that, they had the win against Everton, which was also a bit of a head scratcher. I was happy to put a line through that when handicapping the Arsenal game. It doesn't really help any here. They have been more reliable at home, Man United. They've won 4 of their 7 games. But they've played 6 of the top 8 and not won any of them. So they're too short at this price. Don't want to get involved in Man United at this price. I haven't seen enough to trust them. Bit of a false final at home to Everton. It doesn't give me enough to want to back them in any way. Handicaps, team totals, anything like that. Forest were soundly beaten at City. The form is actually starting to become quite predictable, Forest. They've lost 4 games against the top 5 teams. They've beaten 5 of the bottom 7 teams. And that's where Forest are. That's what Forest are going to do. This is a mid-table game between 2 quite well-matched teams, I would suggest. Forest have played 8 of the bottom half teams, scored against 7 of them. Man United have been okay at home, and they've been okay against the teams around them. Quite simple, this, Baz. Both teams to score. They did keep a clean sheet against Everton, but I'm not buying it. Both teams to score is 4-5, minus 125, Baz.
Yeah, I don't mind that pick at all. It's not. It'll help where I've gone. It's hard to know what to make of Man United so far. Unbeaten at home in 4 in the league. Wins over Everton and Leicester, Brentford, and a draw with Chelsea. But still, I mean, since Amaroun's come in, 1 win, 1 draw, 1 loss. If you looked at the fixture list, Ipswich, Everton, Arsenal, then that's probably about par from what you would expect from those 3 games. Forest have now lost 3 of the last 4 and conceded 3 in each of those 3 defeats as well. It has been a tricky run of games for Forest, but I think you're right. There is a bit of a split there. When they come up against decent sides, they're struggling. My first thought when I come in, and it is proved by when I dug further into it, is I'm looking at what we've seen over my picture in my head is that Forest games, low scoring, Man United games, low scoring. So I was thinking, unders might be the way. But then you look at recently, and it's not that way at all. Forest were built on a good defence, did have loads of unders to start the season, but they've struggled it late. As I say, conceded 3 goals 3 times in the last 4 games. And Man United were short of goals early in the season, but they've just scored 7 in the last 2 home games against Leicester and Everton. So I ended up going complete 360. I think the overs is the way to go. Forest have gone over 2.5 in 5 of the last 6 games. Man United are, home games are full of goals as well. So the pick for me is over 2.5. I agree. I think both teams to score will probably hit as well. But over 2.5 is a reasonable enough price at 4-5. So that's where I've gone.
Okay, we move across to Sunday, where there are 3 2:00 kickoffs, which is 9 a.m. Eastern time. Start with Fulham taking on Arsenal. Fulham are 17-4 plus 425. The draw is Burlington Bertie, 100-30 plus 333. And Arsenal are 4-7 minus 175. First thing I looked at, was Arsenal at 4-7 and Man City at 4-7. I think Man City, not all prices are made equal. Man City are a much better 4-7 shot, I would have said, than Arsenal. Fulham are too big here. Lots of kingmakers in this league. We've talked about that recently. We see it on a weekly basis. That even though the top teams win a lot, anyone's going to go and duff up anyone. And that includes Newcastle, Fulham, Brighton are another one. There's Brentford. There's all sorts of teams that can cause problems. Fulham are definitely one of them. I think Fulham have only got 1 defeat in 6. They've won 4 of their 7 home games. Arsenal have been decent lately, but against the top 12 teams away from home, they've won 2, drawn 2, and lost 2. They're not battering teams. We saw Fulham last night, turned over Brighton. Fulham have been in really good form. I just think Fulham are too big. It was landing again, it was landing on the right bet. But Fulham on the handicap are too short. They're far too short. 1 to 2 minus 200. I didn't want that. So the draw no bet is an option at 15 to 4. I'm just going to take Fulham, Baz. Listen, they're playing a Tory Stoke City, aren't they? If Arsenal don't score a set piece, they're not going to score. Fulham might just be able to defend them properly. We've seen other teams do it. And if they do, it totally stymies Arsenal. Fulham are absolutely live here. I'm going to take a punt, Baz, on Fulham. 17 to 4 plus 425.
Bold. I like it. Well, I don't like it, actually. I'm gone completely opposite way. But I don't mind it being bold. That's fine. I had a fairly short one on this. I didn't really like the fixture that much. But I just felt I had to continue to side with Arsenal, having won 4 in a row since the break. They've covered the handicap in all of them as well. They've won by a couple of goals at least in all of those games. Fulham are going along well, but they're equally sort of hard to predict. So the last 3 games, 1 win, 1 draw, 1 loss. Really good win against Brighton, good result. But then just 2 weeks ago, they were getting beat 4-2 against Wolves. I think the key here is Arsenal are looking a lot better at the moment. With Odegaard back, it's making a difference. On a bit of a run now. I think Arsenal will win. And I've went for the Asian handicap again, -1. So it's a little bit of insurance. If they win by a single goal, it's a push. But yeah, as I say, not a strong fancy in this one. I felt I'd keep riding the Arsenal form, really. So yeah, Arsenal -1 on the Asian handicap at evens is my pick.
Okay, no bother. It was a tricky one, but next up at 2 o'clock is Ipswich against Bournemouth. Ipswich 5 to 2 plus 250. The draw is 11 to 4 plus 275. Bournemouth even money plus 100, Baz.
Yeah, it turns out Ipswich maybe just aren't very good. They sort of looked to have turned up a corner and they picked up points against Man United, Leicester, Spurs, 3 in a row, and you thought, oh, this might be where they sort of put a few things together. But then following it up, 1-0 defeat to Forest and again to Palace. Doesn't look very good. And they could be reasonable comparisons for this one. Bournemouth coming in with back-to-back wins over Spurs and Wolves. That 1-0 win over Spurs broke a streak of 5 games where there was both teams to score. Both teams to score had been doing good in Bournemouth games up until then. I'm just struggling with Ipswich, probably because I've backed them in the last couple of weeks. Not even to win games, just to score a goal, and been let down twice by them now. Bournemouth, a better side, in decent form, and I think they're worth taking at even money. I looked at the prices and how I currently feel about each side, and I just thought I'll take Bournemouth to beat Ipswich. So that's my pick, Bournemouth to beat Ipswich at even money.
There's been a discernible change in the quality of my writing, Baz, from this page to this page as we've gone into the 1 a.m. drunken handicaps here. So I can't. This next handicap's about 8 words long. I actually stopped really quickly when I saw the prices here, Baz. Ipswich have got 1 win in 14, 0 wins at home. Bournemouth have beaten Arsenal, Man City, Tottenham. Ipswich were rubbish against Palace the other night. Bournemouth are even money. It's really, really straightforward. Callum immediately was straight in. You have to back Bournemouth at evens. And that's it. Yeah, that's as far as I needed to go with that one. I will take Bournemouth at equal Stevens. Next up is Leicester City against Brighton and Hove Albion. Leicester, line movement report, Barry. Leicester were 4 to 1. Are now 7 to 2 plus 350. Nipped in half a point, I assume, because they won and their opponents lost. The draw is 29 to 10 plus 290. And Brighton are 7 to 10 minus 142. So yeah, both teams had contrasting midweeks. Leicester beat West Ham 3-1. They're quite a tempting price, Leicester. 4 to 1 was a tempting price. The new manager came in and inspired them to that 3-1 win against West Ham, which on paper looks really good. But I watched that game and they were just dead lucky. They were dead lucky. They scored after 3 minutes. West Ham absolutely mauled them. I had both teams to score, and luckily, West Ham did score in the 92nd minute because it would have been one of the worst beats of all time. It was the Super Boost. It was the 365 Super Boost even money. West Ham had a record amount of shots for them in an away game. They had 31 shots, West Ham. And then Leicester hit them twice on the break later on. But they could have conceded loads of goals in that game. Brighton, disappointing loss against Fulham. Victim to the pissing about from the goalkeeper again, who gave the first goal away. I saw the manager interviewed this morning, Hertzler, and he thought Brighton played really well. I've seen the highlights, but he said Brighton were very much the better team, just gave goals away at the wrong time. But the problem with Brighton is they are quite sort of unpredictable. This has to be goals, though, Baz. 6 in a row, both teams to score. 5 of them over 2.5 for Brighton. Leicester, last 3 in a row, fits both of those things as well. Both teams to score in over 2.5. And like I say, I watched Leicester the other night. They do look quite lively on the break. Brighton don't keep many clean sheets, but there's goals in this. I'm going to take the first one of the day, Barry. Both teams to score in over 2.5 goals. 5-6, -120.
Yeah, I don't mind that. I do think there'll be goals in the game, but I looked at the prices first, and straight away I knew where I wanted to go. I thought Leicester looked a big enough price to want to get involved in them, and I think there's a lot of recency bias to this because I've just seen Brighton have 2 poor results in failing to beat Fulham and Southampton, and then we've just seen Leicester pick up a good win in Van Nistelrooy's first game in charge. It's a very small sample size of form, but it was enough for me to just think Leicester at over 4-1, I think, or close to 4-1. Just looked at a decent price for an underdog. Brighton are unpredictable. They do drop a lot of points in games where you might not think that they will. But I think the double chance for Leicester looks decent. 11-10. Again, like you, I did write down here, both teams have scored hitting 7 straight Brighton games, so expect goals. But I just think Leicester might keep pace with them, as Southampton did. And Fulham obviously did more than that. Leicester double chance. Leicester are going to get something from this game. 11-10.
So I would think, Paz, you're handicapping there. I would guess you didn't watch Leicester West Ham the other night, no?
No, but I've heard West Ham.
That's going to be point because my first line is that Leicester are a tempting price because if there was another game on and everyone's like, you would have said, "Oh, right, okay, Leicester have got a new manager and they've just had a good home win and they're 4-1 to beat a team who are beatable." That's what's tempting about it. But I watched the game and honestly, West Ham could have scored 14 goals, and that's what got me away from it. So it kind of works out that the result you've come down on fits into that pattern. Next up is we've got a London derby at 4:30 on Sunday afternoon, 11:30 Eastern time, between Tottenham Hotspur and Chelsea. Tottenham are 9-4 plus 225. No, are they? Yeah. I had them down at plus 320. That can't be right. Anyway, Tottenham are 9-4 plus 225. The draw is 14-5 plus 280. Chelsea are 11-10 plus 110. Is this you, Baz?
I think so, yeah. I'll be very brief. This was one of the easiest ones for me. I thought it was fairly straightforward in terms of where I'd go for a pick. And that's not to say it's a banker by any stretch of the imagination. But I just can't trust Spurs. And Chelsea, they've still only lost to Liverpool and Man City this season in the league. And I just thought Chelsea had plus money against the Spurs side with 1 win in 6 in all competitions. I just thought it was a good enough price for me. As I say, anything's on the table with Spurs. So you're not backing it and thinking this is an absolute banker. But I just think at the prices and on the current form and what we've seen in recent weeks, Chelsea at 11-10 looks the best value. So I'll take Chelsea to beat Spurs at 11-10.
Yeah, I don't know what Tottenham are playing at the minute. I felt a bit sorry for Ange this morning. He looked haunted again in his press conference because I do seem to quite like him. I decided him and Iraola at Bournemouth should just swap jobs because if Ange goes to Bournemouth, you can just do what you want. It doesn't fucking matter if you win or lose. You can win some weeks 4-1, you can lose 4-1. You can do what you want, and it doesn't matter. Everyone's having a lovely time. but they're not quite so much having a lovely time at Tottenham. So give Iraola the Tottenham job, see if he can take them on. And Postecoglou can just go and piss around at Bournemouth, and it doesn't matter. And they can finish 10th, score 88 goals, concede 88 goals, and just have a lovely time doing it. So if anyone's listening from either of those clubs, you're very welcome. Tottenham they are ridiculous, totally unpredictable. Actually, kind of relying on injuries at the minute. I think Tottenham, they had Dragusin and Ben Davis playing centre-back.
I think Ben Davis is injured now as well, isn't he?
And Solanke struggling up front. And Solanke's really important to the way they play. The hold-up play and the press is important to what Postecoglou wants to do. And if Solanke's not there, they struggle to do it a little bit. I don't really know the extent of any returning players for the weekend. I think Solanke might be back. There was talk that he should have been all right last night. So we'll have to see, really. Chelsea owe me nothing. I feel like I've got Chelsea right every week because I think they've been okay, or I thought they were going to be okay. The worst. So I've just kept writing it. It's either been Chelsea to win at a nice money line price, like they are today, or factor in some goals because they just go and win 5-1, or both teams to score, stuff like that. Like you say, they've won 4 of the last 6. Spurs have only won 6 of 14 now. But they do score goals at home. They scored 4 against Villa. They scored 3 against Brentford. They scored 4 against West Ham. They scored 4 against Everton. Chelsea, tons of goals, 2.21 goals per game over their last 8. I like the goals, but the over 3.5 is really skinny at like 9 to 10. It's odds on. I had to go back at the stats, Baz. I can't do a Tottenham game without going at the stats because it's impossible to pick anything else. This is going to be a mad shootout, and it's shots. We've taken shots in Tottenham games a lot, and it always is. The line starts at 27.5. This is just going to be a basketball match. Over 27.5 shots is 5 to 6, minus 120. Craig's joined us. Craig, morning. How are you doing? Chelsea score both halves is Serial's pick in that one. Cheers, Serial. Finally, we go to Monday night. Get in. What a beauty this is. El Sackico on Monday night between West Ham United and Wolverhampton Wanderers. West Ham 9 to 10, minus 111. The draw is 11 to 4, plus 275. Wolves 14 to 5, plus 280. I mean, what do you do with this here? My initial reaction was, fuck this. But actually, I felt like I should then challenge myself to work it out. And this game for me, Baz, is more about feeling than stats. Do you know what I mean? Like, just how both managers and how both teams appear to be playing or, like, adapting or committing themselves to what they need to try and do. Which squad of players is going to turn up and play for the manager? Both have got recent wins under the belt. West Ham got that win at Newcastle. Wolves got that 4-1 at Fulham that you just referred to earlier on. And both have got some alarming defeats in there as well. But this is a coin toss. Like, whichever team loses, the manager's going to get sacked. I don't really get the West Ham board have said, right, if you don't win, you're going to get sacked. I don't really know how that helps anybody at all. Either the players want him sacked, in which case they can just down tools. And I think that's kind of what might happen. This is a coin toss. I don't get the 9 to 10, 14 to 5 prices. I think it's a match. They're too far apart. I think there's more red flags for West Ham. There was talk about him. He's been shotting people off to train with the reserves. He's been making people stand in the corridor. And the board have said if they lose, he's going to get sacked. And the players might just want that. Total gut handicap in here, Baz. I'm going to have a go on Wolves at 14 to 5, plus 280.
Yeah, it's interesting. Wolves are the underdogs for this. And as you say, everyone's looking at it thinking one of these is losing their job afterwards. Wolves the underdogs, but Lopetegui's still the favourite to be the next manager sacked, which tells you, yeah, in the sack race, the expectation is it'll be West Ham that get rid of the manager, which suggests West Ham might lose the game. despite the fact they are the odds-on favourites. I didn't pick a side. I wasn't as brave as you to go trying to work it out. But I knew as soon as you said that's what you'd done, that you were going to go in that direction. West Ham, I thought, seemed short, 9-10. But at the same time, my newfound faith in Wolves has been quickly wiped out in the last week. And again, a bit like Ipswich, maybe it is that Wolves are just a little bit shit. Certainly defensively they are. They've conceded 4 against Bournemouth and 4 against Everton. They have got goals in at the other end, and that's what will give them a chance in this one. But goals was where I thought it was best to go. Over 2.5 goals has hit in 11 of 12 games for Wolves this season. 11 of the last 12. And over 3.5 has hit in 5 of the last 6 games for Wolves. West Ham have just seen 11 goals in their last 2 games alone. I found it hard to come down on a side. I don't mind your pick, but goals look safe. I'm going to go for lots of them. Over 3.5. Over 3.5 goals at 6-4 between West Ham and Wolves.
Okay, yeah, it's not a bad shout. It could just get a little bit desperate. Like, Jordan has joined us. Jordan, first time live. Yeah, we're going at a weird time, Jordan, but welcome along. If you've got any picks, throw them out. I just remembered, Baz, last night, in the NX, there was a bloke had a piss halfway up the stairs, just like right in the main auditorium, like little zigzag stairs, just stood in the corner and had a piss, obviously very drunk. Security come along and put the old wet floor sign, put the cone down. About 20 minutes later, some other kids came down and have a lovely time. Kid picked the cone up and put it on his head, was dancing round, and obviously was just getting covered in piss. And I was like, oh, mate, you had a shocker there. I enjoyed that. Right. Accumulators, exotics, etc. Only, like I said, it was only my underdog that's hitting the week, which was Bournemouth. My luck, I'm going to take Liverpool on the handicappers. They're just a different class to Everton. They are 2 goals better than them. Most weeks, they're going to be minimum 2 goals better than Everton. So that'll be my luck. My underdog, I'm going to take Fulham. I didn't have that many dogs. Fulham have got to be live against Arsenal, Baz. For my goal scorer, Mo Salah's worth a mention because he's on a little record chase, Baz. He's after Jamie Vardy's record for goals in consecutive away games. Jamie Vardy's got the record at 11. And I think Mo Salah's sitting on 7 now, having bagged twice at Newcastle in the week. So Mo Salah's chasing him down. So he'll get a goal at the weekend. So they're my 3 to start with, Baz, you?
My lock is Newcastle to score 2 or more at 5-6.
Nice. Jinxy bastard.
I know. I don't like thinking Newcastle. The other one would have been the Man City Asian handicap, potentially as well. The underdog again, nothing really jumped out, so I was pushing a little bit to get somewhere, and I've gone with Leicester to beat Brighton 4-1. My scorer is going to be Kevin De Bruyne. He's come in and looked decent. Hopefully starts again for Man City, and he's over 3-1 to score any time. Kevin De Bruyne seems a fancy price. 9-1 first or last, but yeah, Kevin De Bruyne at 100-30 to score any time. I like the look of. Akas, I'm going to jump in here with my corned beef pie Aka. First of all, it's an over 2.5 treble. It's Man United v Forest, Fulham v Arsenal, and Leicester v Brighton. Over 2.5 in those 3, 4-1. I like that one. I'm a big fan of it. Whether Man United Forest could be the one to scupper me, possibly. And my stake in Stilton Aka will be, it's a result, so a winner and a both teams to score treble. So the first is Villa to win with both teams to score, Newcastle to win with both teams to score, and Chelsea to win with both teams to score. That comes in 30-1.
Ooh. Nice, Baz. My corned beef pie is 2-1, Baz. It's little in it, but it's a lovely, lovely 2-1. I'll tell you what. It's a straight up money line treble on Liverpool, Manchester City, and Aston Villa. Money in the bank in it, Baz. What would go wrong there? 2-1. Easy that. I did have a steak and Stilton pie this week on Tuesday, Baz. There was one appeared in the fridge out of nowhere. So I microwaved it and ate it. It was delicious. So that's a good omen. It's another money line double. It's Nottingham Forest and Fulham. Forest away at Man United, Fulham to knock over Arsenal. Plenty kingmakers in this league. 28-1 for Forest and Fulham to do the biz. I think that's it, Baz. The first ever double hangover special. We've managed it. Oh,
once
not
again,
shit.
that's
Baz,
not it.
ladders.
I keep forgetting.
Yeah, sorry.
Baz's ladders did get a little way up last week. I went with the shots in the Brentford Villa game. Started at 26.5. We hit the 26.5, the 28.5, and I think it stopped at 30. So we didn't quite get to the third rung, but we got a little bit up, so that counts as a winner. This week we're going to Arsenal for corners. Arsenal over 5.5 corners is the starting point. Arsenal team total corners. This is over 5.5 at 4-5. Over 6.5, 7-5. Over 7.5, 5-2. It's 4-1 for over 8.5 Arsenal corners. 13-2 for over 9.5. And we're going to finish off at 10.5. Over 10.5 Arsenal corners at 11-1. Arsenal have hit double figures in 3 of the last 6 games. They've hit 13 a couple of times. So don't be afraid to go a couple more steps if you want. But yeah, that's where we've gone this week with the ladder is the Arsenal team corners.
Nice. I know they've released that stupid rule or tried to implement that rule where if the keeper takes too long, you get a corner. Like, how are they going to enforce that? Like, that's just another layer of shit for them to get wrong. Because some weeks it'll be 4 seconds, other weeks he'll get 7 seconds. It's just more absolute bollocks. Good effort, Baz. Well done. My job this afternoon, not only is it miles away in Penrith, it's on a caravan park, Barry. Who's in a caravan park in Penrith in the fucking middle of December? Sounds like a swingers party to me. Anyway, that's me for the day. Anything you want to tell the people before we go?
A couple of bits of food chat. I got some good olive oil this week, Malcolm. You strike me as a kind of guy who likes a bit of olive oil. What would you do with it?
What do you mean?
Like, this is like, well, you got any nice ideas for like really good quality? It's about 20 quid. That 20 quid's worth of olive oil.
Yeah. Mate, just drink it.
Just drink it. Is that the plan?
Mate, yeah, I would. Yeah, get some decent bread, and then just neck it.
Well, we did. So I got this last week and made a nice focaccia, homemade focaccia with rosemary and red onions, and then we had it with a little bit of in a bowl with a little bit of good quality balsamic vinegar in it for dipping.
Yeah,
that was nice. So yeah, I'm not that used to lots of olive oil. I need some new ideas for it.
Pasta, just a really, really basic pasta, like a nice tagliatelle or something. Salt, pepper, olive oil, Parmesan cheese. Just no pissing around, like, yeah, because you'll get the oil come through there, spot on.
I got this olive oil in a box of wine. I ordered a Christmas selection of good wines, and it's made from the same bloke who is one of the bottles of wine. He's a wine producer, but he also produces olive oil. That's how I've ended up with it. Tea today, Malcolm. I've got a question for you. It will be a savoury mince dish topped with mashed potato. What are you calling it? It's beef mince. What are you calling it?
Cottage pie.
But is that what you would call it?
Yeah.
See, it is cottage pie, isn't it? Because shepherd's pie is made from lamb mince, and cottage pie is beef mince, isn't it? That's the third difference.
I believe so. There's something to do with peas as well, Baz.
Is it? When I was brought up, anything mince and tatey related was just called a shepherd's pie. But it's not a shepherd's pie because there's no lamb in it. But in my house, it's a shepherd's pie, but everyone keeps correcting me that that's not shepherd's pie because there's no lamb. I wondered if it was a northeast thing, I wondered if everybody just called it shepherd's pie, but apparently not.
Yeah, I think quite a lot of people aren't really bothered, Barry, by
well,
name of the pie. You know what I mean? It's not a problem. I thought
we'll finish the show at 59 minutes, Malcolm. I just thought it was a good way to fill a minute. That was all. You know what I mean?
Mate, you filled that last minute in absolutely beautifully. Right, crack on. I'm going to crank out an hour's nap, shove that peach Melba in my face, and then go to a massive swingers party in a caravan park. And you're off to work, is that right?
I'm going to do some work, yeah.
Right, champion. Keep an eye on the schedule, because I know today was weird, but the next few weeks are going to be weird because I'm all over the place. So we might just pop up at some weird and wonderful times. So YouTube, subscribe is the thing to do, and you'll get a notification, even get an email sometimes. Other than that, have a fun weekend. Good luck with all your picks. and we'll see you all down the road. Cheers.